I don't believe what I just saw.
This is one of the great moments in the history of baseball.
I believe in miracles. Yes!
Is this the dagger?
It's March 2nd, and on this day in 1797, the Bank of England issued official 1 and 2 pound notes for the very first time. So with money on our minds, we at TDIS are coming up with nothing but straight cash, homie, as we delve into all the great sports stories that happened on this day in history. In this episode, Wilt Chamberlain proves he can score 100 times in a single night, even in a small town. The Blackhawks score for the first time in weeks. Seabiscuit heads out to Stud Island in style. The Finnish Flash blows up the NHL. The Golden Bear shits in the woods in Fort Lauderdale. Del Ballard shits the bed in Baltimore. And a pair of local heroes save the Giants from making a Canadian migration. Plus lots of tidbits and insights that are money, baby, hopefully with enough laughs to make you feel rich, at least on the inside. On this March 2nd edition of This Day in Sports.
So we went from talking about money, and then it was all about shit.
It wasn't all about shit. It was
Felt like it.
Yeah.
You walked away thinking it was.
No. No, there was more about sexual congress than there was about shit.
Sexual
I
congress.
missed that. Wait, where was the sexual
Well,
congress?
there's Wilt Chamberlain scoring jokes. There's Blackhawks scoring jokes. Seabiscuit's going out to Stud Island.
Seabiscuit.
Matt was in a band called Sexual Congress.
Yeah.
Played keyboards
And then he got kicked out.
by himself. It was a solo, and he kicked himself out.
I think a hockey team scoring for the first time in weeks. I didn't read anything sexual into
Well, it's
that.
Yeah, scoring.
You guys got to pay a little more attention if
Yes.
you're going to critique it.
Sorry,
it's
we gotta-
tied back to the Wilt Chamberlain scoring
I'm
thing.
sorry. Frank opened a pop, and it kind of,
Yeah.
it threw
off.
me.
It got you going, what the f***?
Well, the good news is we're at Cabin.
Frank,
So,
just start recording here.
We have lots of extra light. Frank bought a light that's real bright, and he lit us all up, so we all look great now. And we're here at, of course, Cabin Gentleman's Supply Barbershop here in the Port Credit location. I see a few things that are a bit of an addition here. There's all sorts of stuff in this room. There's a Chia Pet Pee Wee Herman over there.
Yeah, we have
that's
growing some hair.
bowling pins
Bowling
are
pins
new.
right there. Always something going on here at Cabin. But a great place to go down and get a shave, get a cut, get a ton of compliments because you're going to look great walking out of Cabin.
Yeah, you don't have to come here and record a podcast.
You don't have
you
to
can
do
just
podcasts.
come in and be a customer.
It's not only known for this podcast.
That's right.
It's known for this podcast, but also
primarily, yes.
it's a barbershop.
Yeah.
And a place to buy a gift for somebody in your life. For more about that, check out cabinforlife.ca, and you'll know everything you need to know about Cabin, including where all the locations are. 3 across the GTA that you want to check out for sure.
Yes, sir.
So that's our sponsor. So we've done that. We've done the intro. Now, what's most important is we get down to what happened this day in sports, March 2nd. And Matt, I bet you got one to kick us off here.
I got one from March 2nd, 1929. Some scoring. So the Blackhawks defeated the Montreal Maroons 2-1 in Chicago, ending Chicago's NHL record streak of 8 consecutive games without scoring a goal. 8 games without a goal. Wow. So the Blackhawks won just 7 games that season and only reached 3 goals scored once in a game that entire season. But what is also incredible is they still finished with 5 more points than the previous year.
So getting better. They still suck.
Yeah, they suck, but they got a bit better. But
Yeah.
that is incredible, going 8 games without scoring a goal. I don't know how many were at home, but if you were a home season ticket holder, that would be disappointing.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think season tickets cost in 1929 in Chicago?
It was it was like their 3rd year in existence.
Yeah. And then
And the
schedule's short.
And the Muldoon curse had started then too, right? They fired their head coach after his first season. He put a curse on the team.
Okay.
Oh.
And said, if you fire me, you'll never finish first ever.
And
And they fired him. His last name was Muldoon.
Yeah.
I can't remember his first name. And the curse lasted like 3.5 decades.
Jesus.
They didn't finish first till like 1961.
Fair enough.
They
to
won
say
cups, but they didn't finish
Yeah.
first in the standings.
Okay.
Muldoon put that curse on.
Muldoon's curse.
Went straight to the bar.
Yeah.
Probably froze to death. I don't know. Just a Chicago story. Just a Chicago story, you guys.
Seems as likely as anything.
Well, it's 1929.
Yeah, I mean,
no one had a house.
No, you didn't have.
Everyone lost everything in the Depression.
No one had.
I wonder,
No one had Uggs then.
I wonder if Frank can look that up while we go. Frank, do you think you could find out how much it costs to get into a Chicago Blackhawks game in 1929?
And find out which ditch Muldoon froze in. All right,
Guys,
Mike.
guys, keep in mind,
Mike.
Frank just opened a fresh pop.
Oh, shit.
Sorry.
Mike, what do you got for us?
1989. During the team's spring training photo at Port St. Lucie, Florida, New York Mets teammates Darryl Strawberry and Keith Hernandez exchanged punches as they took their places in the front row. The incident was captured on video by the assembled media. The two men were bantering about comments made about their respective salaries. Strawberry walked out of camp then, refusing to return until his contract was renegotiated, but he returned 2 days later, and he and Hernandez shook hands and patched things up soon after that. He went out and did some blow all night.
Oh, man, those two.
Like that team.
1989.
Yeah.
1962. In a game played in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Warriors center Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points versus the Knicks. Philly won the game 169-147, remains the most points ever scored by a player in an NBA game. Some other facts. Chamberlain attempted 63 field goals in that game, making 36 of them, and his final 2 points were scored on a dunk with all 5 Knicks players trying to guard him. Wow. They thought it was going to make it better, and it made it that much worse.
Yeah.
He also was 28 of 32 from the free throw line, also setting the league record for most free throws made in a game. The game was not televised, and there was no film footage of it in existence. It was broadcast on the radio. There's nothing like 1962 basketball on the radio, by the way. You want to check out some classics.
From Hershey.
And Wilt only had 41 points at the half. His previous game high was 73. He also had 25 rebounds in the game. That season, the Big Dipper averaged 50.4 points with 48.5 minutes per game. Only 4,124 people are in attendance to see it happen. Wow. 1962 professional basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was a college game, it would be packed.
Yeah.
But not in professional ball in the early 60s.
I like that. I mean, Chamberlain often used to say to lots of people came up to him and would say things like, I saw that game where you scored 100 at the Garden. That was unbelievable. And he'd be like,
no.
Well, it was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, so no, you didn't.
You absolutely weren't
He
there.
said like there would be people who would tell all the time, they're coming up to him, tell him stories. I saw that game. Yeah. No, you didn't.
No way.
I saw him say this fun thing about how after the game, he got a ride back to his New York apartment with some of the Knicks players after that game. Like he got,
That's awkward.
carpooling with the
Thanks
guy
for
who
the
just
shitty
scored a-
defense, guys. Can I have a ride?
Scored 100.
How do you carpool in a 19? Well, I guess those cars are bigger. I was going to say
Well,
more than Wilt Chamberlain in a car is a lot of space taken up.
Actually, I don't know if
Yeah.
they carpool. I think he said he got a ride with them.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
No
know if
details
that
in the
was
car,
bus
Matt?
or-
Team bus.
Frank,
bus.
what kind of car did he drive back?
Put down that ginger ale and get
Fresh ginger ale.
a fresh soda.
Matt, what do you got?
1940. After losing this race by a nose in both 1937 and 1938, Seabiscuit won the Santa Anita Handicap by 1 1/2 lengths in his final race before retiring. It was ridden by Red Pollard. Seabiscuit retired as the leading money-winning horse in history at the time. And a statue of Seabiscuit went up there a year later.
A year later.
Yeah.
1993. And that's going to tie into our draft today.
That's right.
too.
Absolutely.
I
It
forgot
is.
to say
So
that.
horse
Yeah,
racing.
we're going to have a horse racing draft.
Yeah, yeah.
So don't go anywhere,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah, sit right down,
Don't
Brian.
worry. Don't worry. We'll make it dumb.
Where you going, Paul? Sit right down.
1993. After 2 months away from the team, Pittsburgh Penguins center Mario Lemieux finished his 22nd and final radiation treatment for Hodgkin's lymphoma and then surprised his teammates in Philadelphia prepared to play the game that night. He scored his 40th goal and had an assist that night in a 5-4 loss to the Flyers and was given a huge ovation by Flyers fans in attendance at the Spectrum. Despite playing just 60 games that season and battling cancer, Lemieux still led the NHL with 160 points and a plus 55 rating that season.
Wow.
Most astonishing is that the Philly fans were classy enough to give an ovation
Well,
to an
that's
opposing team.
the most interesting fact of it all. It's like
Never.
First time ever.
Never. Yeah.
they don't even clap for their own players.
160 points in 60 games.
Yes, while battling cancer,
Nuts. Plus
like
55.
not even at full strength.
No.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of felt great that.
No, like even when he did play, he couldn't have been
No.
great.
No.
I'm sure everyone was surprised and super happy he was there. Do you think there was a guy who had to stop dressing
Yeah,
and go,
Yeah.
oh, hey, cool, yeah.
the guy.
hey, Mario.
The guy who's got Hodgkin's lymphoma is still
Yeah.
better than me
Wow. By
Well, he's
far.
still better
By
than
a lot.
Still better than
Everybody.
by a
everybody.
lot. Yeah.
Everybody there. But yeah, that's incredible.
Well, less exciting, but in 1991,
Oh.
March 2nd, 1991, in the finals of the Fairlanes Open, Del Ballard Jr., not to be confused with Del Ballard,
Right.
threw the most famous gutter ball in PBA tour history, Needing just 7 pins on his last roll to beat Pete Weber, Ballard got none as his ball went into the gutter and he lost the final 213 to 207.
Ah, Pete.
My God. He made us all feel human, though, doesn't
His
he?
old man wouldn't have done that.
No way.
You know what I mean?
No way. Ballard Sr.
Ballard Sr.,
Forget it.
he'd have crushed that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a terrible gutter ball.
That's
But,
right.
hey, friends, it happens to everybody. Gutter balls, don't give
We've all
up.
been there.
Yeah.
Stay in school, kids.
It might come out.
Matt!
1980. I'm going to jump ahead to 1980, March 2nd, when Suns point guard Mike Bratt's streak of 55 consecutive made free throws ended this night during a 123 to 115 win over the Lakers in Phoenix. He missed one of his 4 attempts. Wow, so 55 consecutive made free throws comes to an end. Perhaps Bratt's greatest brush with fame came a few days later when he became the last Chicago Bulls player to wear uniform number 23 before Michael Jordan.
Speaking of getting out of the way for someone coming into the
Yeah.
locker room. Oh, you want to wear 23? Yeah.
Yeah.
Take
Take
it.
it.
Okay.
You look pretty good.
I guess so.
I guess buy me a car or whatever.
I guess
Is
when
that-
they retired it, they probably retired it for both Bratz and Jordan.
Oh, they did. Yeah, of course they
When
did.
they retire jerseys,
Yeah.
sometimes they're the same guy.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
same-
if I was Bratz, I'd just roll up to the arena that night and go, "This is great. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for
thank
retiring
you."
my number." Oh, is this
Yeah.
for Michael?
Oh,
Well, he has a sense of humor. They have a commercial or something.
Yeah?
He does a commercial or something like that where he's like, "There's the number."
Never seen it.
And it was like you were expecting someone else or something like that.
Oh,
good for him.
Well, there we go.
Well, you have to
I
have
think
a-
there's something like that. Yeah.
have to have a sense of humor.
Bud Light.
1976, May
Yeah.
2nd, after 57 years of ownership, the Stoneham family finally sold the San Francisco Giants. Financier Robert A. Lurie and cattle rancher Bud Herseth bought the team, allowing them to remain in San Francisco. Prior to the intervention of Mayor George Moscone, who worked hard to find local ownership at the very last minute, it appeared that the team was going to be sold to Labatt's Breweries and moved to Toronto. I don't know if you've ever seen, there's a documentary about that, but
No.
it was like
No.
Toronto Giants logo was a thing. Like
Yeah.
it would actually had been
I
designed
know how
already.
close it was. I've never seen the doc though.
Because the Giants hadn't been drawing Dick for years, and they were not a good team, and they couldn't get anybody. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it would have been an entirely different Toronto baseball experience.
Yep.
Maybe Barry Bonds would have played here.
That's insane to
Yeah.
think a whole
Probably
alternate
not.
reality.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know.
Well, I'll tell you what. Pull up a chair, as Vince Scully would often say.
Oh.
Because in 1966, in a move that dramatically affected the fortunes of both the Braves and the Mets, MLB Commissioner William Eckert voided the contract pitcher Tom Seaver had signed with Atlanta, citing the rule that a college player cannot sign while still playing his college season. Eckert then ruled that other teams could match the Braves' offer for the former USC Trojan. The Mets were awarded Seaver's rights in a lottery between the 3 teams that had agreed to match Atlanta's offer, the Phillies and the Indians being the others. Seaver was an MLB All-Star by the next season. So that is, again, if you're talking about
What
alternate,
ifs.
yeah, the what ifs.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is Tom Seaver, who's a teammate of friend of the podcast, George Grant, who was on the show. We went to USC
right.
together.
Oh, yeah,
played
USC,
together.
that's right, yeah,
They
yeah,
played
right.
at the same USC baseball team.
So basically, Tom Seaver, friend of the show.
Tom Seaver,
I know he's
also,
passed away, but
the late great Tom
Yeah.
Seaver is also a friend of the
Friend
show.
of the show, yeah,
That's
for
interesting. That exactly. What would the Phillies been like? What would the Indians been like? What would
Yeah.
the Braves have been like? It's
would have
totally-
changed the fortunes of those teams dramatically.
Yep.
I mean, he's kind of the pitcher of the late 60s and early
Oh my God!
70s,
Yeah,
like-
absolutely.
Atlanta must have been so mad.
Yeah.
No shit.
You know,
Yeah.
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 unless they weren't like, I guess they broke a rule by trying to sign the player. Unless they were, you know,
Maybe. You never know with that stuff. Maybe the commissioner wanted him to go to New York.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
Like
they were just being proactive, and then
It's like
I
the
hear you.
Phoenix Suns losing the coin flip for the draft with Kareem
Yeah.
and getting Neil Walk
Yeah.
as with the second pick.
Yeah.
You're like, imagine how different the
Sliding
Phoenix Suns would be.
doors. Yeah, exactly. Matt, what do you got?
1993. This is Winnipeg's Teemu Selanne scored 2 goals.
It sounded so great. 1993. Bad year for me.
No, it's a great year. So it's 1993, March 2nd. Winnipeg's Teemu Selanne scored 2 goals versus Quebec to break Mike Bossie's NHL record
I knew it had happened.
for the most goals scored in a rookie season. There was 53rd and 54th that season, and he still had over a month left. He finished, of course, with an astonishing 76 goals.
Wow.
Crazy.
Incredible in his rookie season. Since then, nobody's come close.
You guys watched that happen.
Yeah, we were in Winnipeg.
So
Yeah.
Why? Was he that, like, was the league just couldn't adjust to him?
Maybe that's
What do you
it.
remember?
What I remember of that Jets team was that he was on the ice a lot. And I remember that Jets team, they had a really great first line, okay second, and that it was a bit of a cliff. And they constantly pumped out those first two lines. So he had a lot of ice time for sure. He should. But that was also the early 90s, and there was a lot
it's
of,
wide
the perfect era to be that guy.
Fire wagon hockey.
Yeah.
I remember, and it might just be memory bias but I just remember Housley always springing him on these things. Housley had Housley had 79 assists.
Right,
that
of
year.
course.
And a lot of them probably went
from 3 feet in front of his own net.
Sending him go.
Wow.
But yeah, he was.
It's amazing. Because like they're talking about Matthews maybe getting 70 this year.
Yeah.
And it's like, but he ain't a rookie. Like,
No.
it's extraordinary.
Matthews as a rookie had 40.
Yeah.
And Ovechkin was the closest since Solani.
And
Ovechkin
I
had
think
52 as a rookie.
And Bossy was the first to have 50 as a rookie.
That's right. Yeah.
Like that was like, I remember that was an unbelievable thing to have like 1.5
goals
of that is
as a rookie.
Ridiculous.
And the thing that was great for, it was always just so funny that Solani year because he did it as a rookie and everything. But McGillney, the fact that McGillney had 76
same
goals,
year.
I know it was just sort of
Yeah.
like, oh, we really wanted him to have
It's
sole ownership of that.
but that era there was, if you watched Sports Center and it was 8-7, you'd be like, 8-7 hockey game.
Yeah.
Like you weren't astonished. And now it is now you'd be like, wow, every night 8-7, 9-8, these insane scores.
It's true. Yeah. Great.
There weren't a lot of like 7-1 games. There was a lot of these like 7-5, 7. It's like these. They just scored and scored and scored in that era. It was insane.
Yeah. Like I heard they were doing a tribute to Grant Fuhr the other day, and I heard Grant Fuhr in his career had like, I think it said 35 shutouts.
Yeah.
In his career.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's one of the, you think of him as being a pantheon goalie, but because he played in those, if you had a good night if you let in 3 or 4.
A ton of wins. But the shutouts aren't there. No.
Okay, before we do this next one, I'm going to ask you guys a quick trivia question.
Sure.
Who do we think is the highest scoring NBA player of the 1980s? Had the most points?
Most points, 1980s.
Give me a quick guess.
All right. We're going to be wrong.
Yeah.
Alex English.
Oh, yes, you've read ahead.
What?
You wrecked my thing. You guys are dicks.
No, I'd never get that. I'd never get
I
that.
didn't even say anything.
I never get that.
I got a dick.
Yeah.
Before a game, in 1998, before a game versus the Lakers at Denver's McNichols Sports Arena, the Nuggets retired forward Alex English's uniform number 7. English played in Denver between 1979 and 1990, where he was an 8-time All-Star, won the 1983 NBA scoring title, and became the franchise's all-time leader in points in games, though that's going to go away soon. But he was the all-time scorer not all-time, he was the leading scorer in the decade of the 80s.
Wearing that kind of like rainbow Denver, remember that kind of rainbow
with the
across the blue?
The cityscape on
Yeah,
it.
the yellow trim. Yeah. What a beauty.
And he played the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers in the movie Eddie.
Thank you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you for
there
that.
you go. Yes.
Tarnishing his reputation for the rest
It's
of his life.
otherwise, yeah.
In 1969, Bruins center Phil Esposito became the first player in NHL history to reach 100 points in a season when he scored 2 third-period goals versus Pittsburgh during a 4-0 win in the Boston Garden. He finished that season with 126 points and reached 100 points in a season 4 other times in his career. He also scored 50-plus goals in 5 straight seasons and set the NHL record for the most points, 152, and goals, 76, in a season
Magic number.
in 1970-71. Tying it all back, Matt.
It is.
Yeah,
and I saw that too. And I looked up. What I loved about that year is it was a dead even split. He had 76 goals and 76 assists.
Boy.
What an all-around player.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, doesn't talk about defense, but he's that's great. Timu, if you're wondering, when he had 76 goals, he had 56 assists.
Okay, thank you for that. Phil Esposito, still going, of course, and one of the great things, what ifs we're talking about, is with Phil Esposito is what if the Blackhawks had kept Phil Esposito?
Oh,
They would have had Tony, and they would have had Phil on the same team,
And Bobby Hull.
and Bobby Hull, and
all in the same team.
yeah. I'm trying to remember the exact reason he ended up getting traded to Bruins and what they got for him, but
I believe
can guarantee it wasn't enough.
I believe in the mid-'60s, Chris Chelios started playing for the Blackhawks
That's right.
as well, did he not?
That's right.
Chris Chelios played 67 seasons in the NHL. So
He did play 67.
He was just starting out as Bobby Hull was entering his 30s.
Chelios is going to probably get on his motorcycle and come beat you up right
That's
now.
fine.
He knows where we are.
I deserve it, yeah.
Good thing this isn't a live show.
He's a cabin regular.
Yeah, he gets his haircut here and he rides the stationary bike while he does it.
Friend of the show.
What have we done? Where are we going with this?
Sandy, Matt and I have no more, but you have one left.
I'm going to give you the transaction, okay? 1967. Yep. May of 1967, the Blackhawks traded away Phil Esposito to for the Bruins for Ken Hodge, Fred Stanfield, and the Bruins also gave the Bruins. I believe the Bruins didn't even just take it that straight. Oh yeah, there you go. No, here's what it is: Ken Hodge, Fred Stanfield, and Esposito to the Bruins for Gilles Moreau, Pitt Martin, and Jack Norris.
Okay, Pitt Martin,
but not. I mean,
no, that didn't work.
Didn't quite work out. Did anybody want any more about Phil Esposito? We're good to move on. Okay.
No, that's good.
Okay, 1975, March 2nd, 1975. An uncharacteristically bad day for Jack Nicklaus at the Jackie Gleason Classic in Lauderhill, Florida. Leading by 6 shots, 4 holes into his final round, Nicklaus double bogeyed on the 12th, 14th, 15th holes and lost the lead to the eventual winner, Bob Murphy. I only wanted to say that because there was a Jackie Gleason Classic, and I wanted us to remember in the 70s.
I know, it's fantastic, isn't it?
So great. We've got some quick hits.
And that was the bear shitting in the woods.
There it is. Oh, that's it. The bear shit in the woods. Thank you.
The
I'd make sure I got it.
The golden bear. Yeah.
Golden shits in the woods.
Shits in the woods.
Yes. Matt, quick hits. Let's do it.
Quick hits. 1988, after seeing over 1,000 submissions, the Miami Heat selected the Flaming Ball as their official logo. It was submitted by local artist Mark Henderson, who was a graduate of the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. Quick hits!
Quick hits! 1980, just 1 week after he won a gold medal at the Lake Placid Olympics as a member of the U.S. men's Miracle on Ice hockey team, Jets rookie winger Dave Christian scored his first NHL goal just 7 seconds into his first NHL shift during a 3-2 loss to the Blackhawks in Winnipeg. Boy, he was having a good couple of weeks there, wasn't he?
That's a true quick hit.
Yeah. Quick hit!
Quick hits! 1992, Chicago Cubs second baseman Ryan Sandberg signed a 4-year, $7.1 million contract extension, making him the highest paid MLB player at the time. Highest paid, $7.1 million 4-year contract. Quick hit!
Sticking with golf, 1997, Nick Faldo won the 9th and final PGA tournament of his career, shooting a final round 68 to win the Nissan Open at Los Angeles' Riviera Country Club by 3 strokes ahead of runner-up Craig Stadler. Quick hit.
Quick hits.
Quick hits! 2014, Paula Creamer sank an incredible 75-foot eagle putt on the second playoff hole to win the HSBC Women's Open Championships in Singapore. She had started the day 4 shots back of leader Kari Webb, but she shot a final round 69 and won her first LPGA event since 2010's U.S. Open.
We talked about this before, so quick hit! 1966, Chicago's Bobby Hull became the first player in NHL history to score at least 50 goals in a season more than once when he potted a goal versus Detroit in a 5-4 Blackhawks win at Chicago Stadium. His first season with at least 50 was his 4 years earlier. He had 3 more 50-plus goal seasons in Chicago before leaving for the WHA in 1972. In 1966, teammated Phil Esposito in Chicago. Quick hit!
Quick hit! 1999, St. Louis's Kelly Chase scored 2 goals within the span of 33 seconds during a game versus the Predators in Nashville. In his 426 previous NHL games, Chase had never even had a multiple goal game. That's pretty incredible. Quick hit!
Quick hit, 2004, led by future NBA players Jameer Nelson and Delonte West, the St. Joseph Hawks defeated St. Bonaventure 82-50 at home in Philadelphia, and the win completed the Hawks' undefeated regular season, 27-0, and moved them into the number 1 ranking in the Associated Press poll. They then lost their first game a week later in the first round of the Atlantic 10 Conference versus Xavier, and they were eliminated from that year's NCAA tournament by Oklahoma State in the Elite 8 round. Quick hit!
Quick hits for you golf fans. 2015, 43-year-old Patrick Harrington won his first event since the 2008 PGA Championship by defeating 21-year-old Daniel Berger in the second playoff hole at the Honda Classic in Palm Beach, Florida. Notedly, that's what I'm trying to say, notedly, yeah. Harrington was ranked 297th on the tour at the time of that victory.
Wow. One more round quick hits. 2004, the Penguins finally ended their NHL record 14-game home losing streak by playing the New York Islanders to a tie 3-3. It was Eddie Olczyk's first season as Pittsburgh's head coach. They finished the season in last place and drafted Evgeny Malkin with the second overall pick, the first Ovechkin.
Nice pick.
Quick hit, 1968, after winning her third consecutive gold medal at the World Championships in Geneva, and after having just won gold at the Grenoble Olympics a month earlier, Peggy Fleming announced she was retiring from amateur competition to turn pro and become a broadcaster. She was the only American athlete to win a gold medal at the Grenoble Games, and she remains the only American woman to win 3 consecutive World Championship gold medals.
Final quick hit, March 2nd,
Okay.
2012.
Oh, the 1972 one ties into our,
Checking the files. Checking the files. Rolling back. 1972. Quick hit. By request. American jockey Bill Shoemaker broke the all-time record by winning the 555th career race aboard Royal Owl at the San. How do you say that?
it's either San.
You got me into this mess. Get me out of it, Matt.
San Jacinto.
Okay, San Jacinto
Jacinto
Stakes in Santa Anita, California. He had been tied with Eddie Arcaro for the career record. There you go.
We got tons of horse
So
racing
much
stuff.
horse racing going on for all you horse race fans. Matt, give us a birthday.
I will give you a birthday. Okay, how about in 1982, Vezina Trophy winner, 5-time All-Star goalie Henrik Lundqvist was born in, okay, I'm not sure I'm getting this right. I'm sorry, Are, Sweden? Does anyone know? Air, Sweden? A-R-E, Are, Sweden?
I don't know. I'm still working on that one in California.
1964, 1965, pardon me, 2-time MLB All-Star outfielder with the Braves, Ron Gant, born in Victoria, Texas. Ron Gant, now a morning show host in Atlanta.
I did not know that.
Yes,
have you seen his work?
No,
I got to see his work.
I've read an article about him, and he hosts. It's like Good Morning Atlanta or whatever.
Oh, amazing! I really want to see that
Great.
now.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday in 1909, Hall of Famer, 12-time All-Star, 6-time NL home run champ. Every weekend in your crosswords, Mel Ott in Gretna, Louisiana. Mel Ott.
Happy birthday, 1998, to Pro Bowl and national champion QB Tua Tagovailoa in Iwa Beach, Hawaii.
Giving you some tough pronunciation.
You know what you do, Matt, when you see a list like this? Pick Mel Ott.
It's easy to say. 1917, 1950 National League MVP with the Phillies, pitcher Jim Constanti in Strikersville, New York. That might be the hardest National League MVP to remember, maybe.
Oh,
Jim
brutal.
Constanti. Like he was only an All-Star that year. It was the only year he was even an All-Star. Was the year he won the MVP.
Frank, you're a fan of the Leafs, I believe. A bit. Okay, maybe you'll know a bit of what to say when I say this name. Happy birthday, 1978, 4-time NHL All-Star defenseman Thomas Kaberle and Raknevik Chechia. Thomas Kaberle has the puck. Frank, you're at the game. What do you say?
Nobody can touch him with the puck.
Shoot! Everyone would chant, shoot it! Just shoot it! He would never shoot. He would never shoot.
And he had a good
Never,
shot.
ever shoot. And we were just yelling, please, Thomas, shoot it. He would not shoot.
He shot once.
He was brutal.
He had a good shot.
He did, and he didn't use it. Matt?
Happy birthday, 1922. Going way back into 1922 for Hall of Famer, 8-time All-Star defenseman Bill Quackenbush was born in Toronto, Ontario.
Oh, I love
Fantastic
that name.
name. 1985, Heisman Trophy winning running back at USC, Reggie Bush, born in Spring Valley, California.
We had a Bush and we had a Quackenbush.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to lower the lights because there's a woman who passed away in 2004 who Mike is a huge fan of. Longtime Reds owner Mark Schott in Cincinnati, Ohio, age 75. One of the great, beloved owners in baseball history.
A real humanist.
I mean, if one of her great things was that she thought Hitler had some great ideas.
Yeah. Really good.
That's a great owner. Yeah.
Well, then let's...
And do you remember on opening day that whatever it was when John McSherry, the umpire, died?
Yeah.
She was like interviewed and she was like, I can't believe this happened to me.
To me.
She literally was like,
Oh, my God.
Like, I can't believe my bad luck.
Good Lord.
A man just died on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was...
There's no one. I don't think anyone's on the fence with her. I don't think there's a polarizing figure is the right
Chain
term.
smoker too.
Oh,
Yeah.
everything was
Class act.
just story after story.
Then let's end with 2000, passing away. We just talked about her on our February 15th episode. Canadian curling legend Sandra Schmirler passed away in Regina, Saskatchewan from cancer. And of course, we talked about her foundation, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation, which raises money to purchase life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies in Canada.
Which is,
Sort of the opposite of Marge Shaw.
Yeah, opposite of Marge Shaw. I just want to ask one question, Matt.
Okay.
Known you a long time.
Yeah.
Did you think that would cheer us up?
Well, I thought it would kind
Did you
of
think
balance.
it was like Marge Shaw? Oh, I guess a good person.
Yeah, let's talk about a good person.
Like a
dying.
good, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just had to work it out in a minute.
Yeah.
It works out.
It didn't cheer me up.
No, but it made you feel like there's good humans.
I like that we're
were
talking
in
about
this
a better
world.
person. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Well, you know,
Cheer
friends,
me up. No.
Now I'll tell you what will cheer everybody up.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
The wild
Horse
and wacky
racing
world
talk.
of horse racing. We noticed we have a few different things that happened March 2nd in the horse racing world. We've never done anything with horse racing. We thought, why not? We try to spread the field.
Yeah.
Not just do the 4 North American majors.
Well,
Try
we're
spread
trying
it
to
out.
draw that elusive 90-year-old man
The horse,
Yeah.
the horse
crowd.
crowd. Yeah.
Yeah.
The horse crowd.
The horse crowd.
Frank, you hang out in the horse crowd. What's the
time to
general
time.
vibe out there?
I think you got to look into the eyes of the horse if you're making the big pick. But
Yeah.
the general vibe. What do you mean?
I meant more the guys you hang out with, not like
Oh.
the horses you hang out with.
The type at the track.
My
Is it a younger crowd? Is it an older crowd? What's the horse?
It's a mixed crowd.
It's a mixed crowd.
my uncle Paul worked at the OTB for over 30 years.
Off-track betting for everybody. So.
Wow.
At a couple one that was in Chinatown and then another
Yep.
one, and
Near my house.
his view of humanity is not high. Like there was a lot. Like I'd go in to visit him a couple times. Like 10:30 in the morning on a Tuesday at the OTB is like.
No.
It is not a collection of the best and brightest.
I went by the off-track betting by my house
Yeah.
recently, just actually the holidays, and posted on the window was their advertisement for their Christmas dinner. I just thought,
Still up.
But also if you were there for Christmas dinner, oh no, something went wrong.
That's maybe time for the government to come and put you to sleep.
Okay, back to the fun.
Oh, wow. Okay.
As I said, horse racing would be fun. Frank already left.
You're the one who talked
Frank
about
left.
Sandra Schmirler. Don't
Frank
look at me.
left. You made Frank leave.
Well,
Well,
he's got to get another soda.
He's got to get another fresh soda.
He's going to make
Well,
some bets.
so what we thought we'd do for our draft this week is we thought we would pick what we thought were the all-time best horse names, maybe the best, the worst, any kind of horse name that you want to pick. The only parameter was that they had to at least raced once in one of the Triple Crowns. They had to be part of
The American Triple Crown.
the American Triple Crown.
Yep.
Thank you very much. So you had to be at the Belmont, Preakness, or Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
So we could at least shorten the list a little bit.
I mean, there's only going to be 3 of them anyway, but yeah, that's right.
I mean, just to sort of hone in.
Yeah.
Because there's some really crazy names
Yeah.
out
There
there.
are.
Whatever
we
reasons.
didn't even say how many we were doing.
3 each, and then we were going to make up one of our own.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We thought, well, then let's also throw to our judges a pitch for the reason.
if we
thought
owned a horse.
Yeah, what a good name
What
for
you
a
would
horse.
name them. Okay.
So that'll like spice it up a little bit at the end there. Now I have first pick, and there's a lot of to choose from. Obviously, your first pick, but I'm going to go with probably because I like the comment I read online. One of the worst of all time was Black Servant. Black Servant was a horse, and it was the 1920s, and the person who wrote worst names ever said, even at the time, this was a bad name. There's no one who can say, well, back in the day, you might call your horse that. Horrible for so many reasons.
I didn't realize you were going.
You texted me best horse names.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm going best the worst.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe I'll go best. I'm just floating around.
Well, you put us in an awkward
Why?
situation.
Well,
Why?
listen.
Why? What's awkward? It's always awkward with you.
You know, Matt doesn't like it when you play around with the rules of the draft.
You can pick whatever you want.
When we were picking scariest opponents, and he picked the 75-76 Capitals.
Right.
Because it was scary how bad they were.
57 Cleveland Spiders.
No, I'm fine with it. Mike, are you fine with it?
Sure, I don't care.
Well, no, you were just sort of like.
Did you expect Mike to go, yeah, I'm pissed?
It
That's
seemed
fine.
like he was confused.
No, it's fine.
Unlike betting on horses, no one's winning money.
Okay.
It's just picking names.
To be clear,
Yeah, any parameter you want.
Yeah, okay. The next, the one I liked that made me laugh, one of the ones that made me laugh was the 1945 Kentucky Derby winner, Hoop Jr.
Yeah, I wondered
that's
about
good.
that. Did you look into why?
No, I didn't want to know.
I didn't want to know.
I feel like there's a good chance there's going to be some awkward racist reason for a
Yeah.
lot of names back then.
Well, I
so
definitely picked one.
Yeah, you did. So I preferred to just stay ignorant and just enjoy the name.
Black Servant, by the way, was second in the Kentucky Derby. Just want to
Great.
point out. Yeah, Hoop
Sorry,
Jr.
what was yours? Hoop Jr.?
Hoop Jr.
Why are you writing this down?
I'm sorry, Mike. Does that upset you that I'm writing down
What's
your
this?
picks?
Like
I just
Hoop Jr.
if you didn't know it, it's not. You weren't going to
Yeah.
take it.
No. I just thought I was allowed to write things down.
Matt, don't write it down. Just say what it is. What's your pick?
I'm gonna go with Soup and Sandwich.
Yeah, Soup and Sandwich. All right.
I think it's a fun name. I like hearing it called out.
All right. Soup and Sandwich. Now, do you know what how well Soup and Sandwich did?
I don't.
Just like the name. All right, Frank. Look up Soup and Sandwich. Let's get a career record on Soup and Sandwich. All right. This one was confusing and weird. Cloud computing. There was a horse that won, I believe, the Kentucky Derby.
That must have been recent, I would think.
Yeah, cloud computing. What a terrible. Why? And that horse wasn't sponsored by cloud computing. That horse was not wasn't like they tried to name it after a product.
Right.
Cloud computing.
It seems like they just grabbed two words and put them
They
together.
did. Terrible name for a horse, and I'm going to go with that one.
All right. I'm gonna go with a homer pick, and I'm gonna take Northern Dancer.
Yes.
Sure.
The first Canadian horse to win the Kentucky Derby in 1964. I like the name. I feel like when you hear it, you know it's a Canadian horse.
Yes.
And why not?
I'm going to go with the horse Our Dad. I just think it would be fun to say, our dad's running in the Preakness.
Yeah.
Look at our dad go.
That's my last pick already. I'm already there.
Yeah.
This one I'm going to go with because it sounds like when they have those contests and they get stuff like Bodie McBoatface as an answer.
Yeah.
It's not going to be racist again, is it?
Nope.
Okay. Good.
Smarty Jones.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smarty Jones. That sounds like they had a
Yeah.
competition and said, let's name this horse. And then they were disappointed with the results. Smarty Jones.
Marty Jones.
Matt or Mike. Sorry, Mike.
Well, that's me. Okay. Then I will go with the 1916 Kentucky Derby winner was George Smith.
That was the horse, not the.
That was the horse's
not
name.
the jockey.
Nope.
Or the owner.
George Smith.
All right.
So,
I mean, that's good. I'd like to know the jockey's name. The jockey probably had
Jockey's
the funny name.
name. It's very complicated. So they named the horse George Smith. I just think that's fantastic. Clearly named after someone who had a really
Yeah.
boring name of his own.
Yeah.
So George Smith will be my pick.
I do wish that the jockey's name was Checkers.
Oh, yeah.
And then everyone was so confused. Hold on. Who's a jockey? It's Checkers. Who's he riding? George Smith. No. Who's a jockey?
It's a whole Abbott and Costello
It is.
thing.
It's a whole bit. It's a whole bit.
Trainer was Ed McBride.
This is a which horse?
George Smith.
George Smith. Trainer Ed McBride.
Yeah.
Matt, is this your final pick?
This is my final pick.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the horse Sorry About That.
Yeah. That sounds like a Canadian horse, too. Northern Dancer, sure. But also, sorry about that.
Yes.
Hey, did you win? Sorry about that. Did you lose? Sorry about that. Okay. This is our list here. So before we go to the one we're making up our own horse name. I wanted to I saw this article that was in an Irish newspaper. I don't know if you guys saw this online too, looking up names of horse. So I guess you can submit a horse name and they can reject it. They can say,
Who's they?
like the commission or whatever the horse. So you're entering the Kentucky Derby and you've got a horse name or whatever it is. They can actually say, no, that's not going to be.
And
the
they
horse.
didn't do that for your first pick's name.
No, not they made this year.
That's when the
Maybe that's
commission started.
the rule started then.
We
But
need
there
to
were-
get a commission. Here.
But this is a few that were rejected. Some of the major horse races. Harry Azel.
Oh.
Okay, if you read that slowly, Harry Azel.
Please don't.
Norfolk Enchants.
Run Together.
Norfolk
I
and
see.
Chance.
Yeah, okay.
Chit Hot was one. And then there's a bunch of sexual ones, things like some sort of versions of Bend Over that were rejected.
It's like everybody's fantasy
Yeah,
football
like
team.
Cunning Stunt was
it's
one.
like Bart Simpson's right.
Dick Insider.
That's right.
Yeah, they said absolutely not. So they do reject the names
These
if they're
people have
too
enough
dirty.
money to own a horse.
Yes. And name it like
name it-
Ivana Tinkle,
Yeah.
huge reaction.
Yeah, these are all just
Major B owner was one. They're like, that's Major Boner. We saw through that one. The rejected names, and they won't let them. They're like, nope, change it. That's not going to happen.
Amazing.
Did you see there was a horse, Jacqueline Klugman?
Yeah, Jack
And
Klugman
Jack
was part
Klugman
owner.
was a part owner. I like that one.
You think they'd be more clever than that, like Quincy or something like that, like a name that just associated rather than Jacqueline Klugman. So now we're naming a horse. So I guess I go first in this one. So I noticed that there was a trend when you looked over the years that sometimes some of these rejected ones were too, which are like self-deprecating. Like this horse is going to get a name that sounds like one was Lost Cause. So Lost Cause was a horse. So obviously that's self-deprecating. A last place bet, stumbles, things like that. So I thought I'm going to go along that trend, and my horse name that I would like to see is a self-deprecating. My horse is not going to be great. Future Glue.
Okay.
My horse is named Future Glue.
Sure.
Mike, what do you got?
Mine is. I think the reason I chose this name will become clear as soon as I say it to at least you. My horse's name will be Fancy Pants.
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Now we found out that your name Shara in Ukrainian,
Yeah.
is it? Means fancy pants.
No, I think Shara means fancy,
Okay.
and then there was the name was shortened when my grandfather came to Canada, but we think what it was meant fancy pants. Like I think the second part of it was pants.
Perfect name for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
That's right. Yeah.
No one has fancier pants.
Matt, to wrap it up, what would be your horse's name?
Well, I'm all about like hearing the announcer announce it and what
Yep.
what I think would be fun. And my horse is Alan from Sales.
Alan from Sales by a nose.
Alan from Sales is coming up. Yeah, along the rail. Alan from Sales. That is my horse, Alan from Sales.
Sure. This is so
It would be funny to hear somebody chant.
Yeah.
Alan from Sales by 10 lengths.
Alan from Sales. Alan from Sales is picking it up. Alan from Sales is making his move. Alan, you start rooting for this guy.
Sure. Of course you would, because he sounds a true underdog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Alan for Sales
More
decided to
than
enter this
Future
race.
Glue.
Listen, Future Glue is not. There's not a lot of hope for Future Glue. It's a little bit gloomy.
Bringing up the rear.
Do they still do that? They still turn horses into glue? Does that still happen?
Well,
I don't
they
know.
still sell glue, right?
Frank's got a point. They still make horses, right?
They still make horses.
All right. Well, we're going to be judged for our picks of names and then names that we made up ourselves equally, I guess. And anyway, they would judge wants
And
to.
are they supposed to guess which one we made up?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know what I mean? We give them the four, and then they go,
one of
here
these
are the
is-
four, and one,
Yeah.
and now try and pick which of these.
Exactly. That's good. It's almost like almost borderline like at a Liars Club kind of thing where they're trying to pick out who's telling the truth and who's not.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Let's do that. Let's give the four as is and no winks, and then see if at the end they can pick which ones are the made up three. Sound good?
Yeah.
Mike's in?
I have them written down if we need them.
Oh, perfect. Well,
It's not the writing down. It's the delay when you're supposed to be making your pick while you're writing mine down. I don't give a shit if you write it down. It's you asking what we're doing while you're supposed to be picking.
things are heating up in the back room of cabin.
It's like Strawberry and Hernandez over here.
Maybe take a day from getting a haircut down here. There's some mojo in the air, some juju in the air that maybe you don't want to touch. Okay, we're moving on to the draft results. The judging begins now. On this episode, we have two guest judges, judge partners, and partners in life, if you will. First up, Aurora Browne, who's an actor, improviser, writer, director, and producer, best known for co-creating and starring in Baroness Bond's sketch show on CBC and IFC. Other credits include Orphan Black, Newborn Moms, Run the Burbs, Great Canadian Baking Show, The Drop, Kids in the Hall, Odd Squad, and RoboCop, where she played RoboCop, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember exactly how it went down. Yep, there it is. Yep. Prove us wrong. Joining Aurora is Kris Siddiqi, who submitted a much larger bio, but I've cut it down. So here's the highlights. Kris is a comedian, actor, and writer who, like Aurora, was part of the Second City main stage cast for many a show, and he was the creator of the multi-award-winning miniseries Bit Players with a friend of the podcast, Nigel Downer. He's been on here before. Chris's recent film and TV
nice.
credits. Yeah, Nigel made an appearance.
Okay, finally.
Yeah. Chris's recent film and TV credits include Netflix's I Woke Up a Vampire, HBO Max's Titans, Aaron Sorkin's Molly's Game, Amazon's The Boys, Apple TV's The Changeling, and a recurring face on IFC CBC's Baroness von Sketch Show. So please welcome to This Day in Sports, Aurora Browne and Kris Siddiqi.
Yeah.
Do you generally have a preference, like Kris and Aurora, or Aurora and Kris? Like, what's the proper order, you think?
I don't know. I usually, isn't it sort of based on syllables? You know, I isn't the last one like a single syllable is last? Aurora and Kris.
Is that right?
No, the crispiness of saying Kris and Aurora is kind of a fun little like pop and
a sizzle out.
Yeah.
Not that you're a sizzle out, but it just.
I'm pretty sizzly.
You have to decide this before you have your own variety show.
That's exactly right.
If you're going to do that, we have to sort this out. Like Donnie and Marie.
Well, that is then just called the Kris Siddiqui Variety Show.
Yes.
Co-hosted by Aurora Siddiqui.
Glad we straightened that out. I was really nervous that I might have gotten the wrong order. There might be a definitive answer. Just depends on ego, I guess.
It's a sore subject, Sandy.
For sure.
We'll be having a discussion.
I mean, Sandy Evans told me about that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. That's confusing with Kylie being Kylie Evans. Sandy Jobin, Evans.
Evans.
Just everybody.
But appropriate to this draft, right? Because this is about names, how you say them. Like, these horse names, rather. Like, you got to think during a race, calling them out. How difficult are they? How easy?
Yeah,
just tying it together here. Just tying it together like a Christmas present.
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's the context. It's like, is it by a nose, or like taking a lead? Oh, this certain name is falling over. Whatever the names are. I mean, what's happening in the race, or I mean, you also, if you get real picky at the track, does that name really fit that horse's personality? So you start to think about. I mean, we're not going to get maybe that deep because we're not going to actually see these horses.
Oh, right.
Didn't bring them
I've
in.
never been to a horse race.
Really?
I've never seen horse races on like screen.
Oh, the off-track betting?
Yeah. Never. I mean, never been to it. Never.
Well, we were talking about that earlier in the show that maybe going to off-track betting for Christmas Day is kind of a sad thing to do.
Kind of a sad thing to do.
I mean, that's what the movies tell me. Somebody who goes to do like off-track betting as a regular thing is never usually in a great place in their life. It's usually like what they're doing for.
No, my uncle worked at one for 30 years. I'd go to visit him. It's a fairly depressing enterprise. Yeah. But stay away keep your kids away from the OTB.
If that's your community, though. Like maybe it's a brighter spot for the people who like that's their friends, that's their little.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, that's what other lepers say to lepers. That's your community, though. And
what are you gonna do?
No offense to lepers, if there's any. This is a real leper. This is real hot in the leper circle, isn't it?
Well, certainly. If there is, you will have been canceled now, Kris.
Yeah.
This is going to be the end of you. Hard to believe that would have ended you, but that's what it was.
Fair enough.
All right, let's dig into some of these names. Let's dig into some of these names. So we have Team 1, and we didn't tell you who is each team because we want to keep that secret, maybe for bias, but eventually it'll become very clear when people are defending their choices that those are the teams they picked. But Team 1, we have Smarty Jones, Black Servant, Future Glue, and Cloud Computing. What are your thoughts on those that set of names?
Well, one of those names really stuck out because I thought, wow, if Black Servant is a real name, that's kind of mind-boggling. And if one of you made up that name, then that's another kind of mind-boggling.
That's a real big swing. I like that, though. Yeah. They're all. I feel like they're all. Some of them are very contemporary too, like Future Glue,
Cloud Computing.
Future Glue almost sounds like a rapper name, like a new rapper name.
Lil Future Glue.
Lil Future Glue, yeah.
You'd have to put a little, yeah.
Yeah. Smarty Jones is pretty. I gotta say, I like Black Servant. I think it's a real. It's an interesting chance to take a time like this.
Yeah, that says, you know what? I have millions of dollars to spend on thoroughbred animals, and I don't give a crap what you think.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. True.
Cloud computing. I'm so frustrated by my cloud. I'm constantly so I just find anything mentioning cloud computing just kind of like gets a for me.
Also, Future Glue is real. That's real. Like that's kind of doomsday naming, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, this horse better win or.
It's fun to say Future Glue.
That's true.
A head by a nose.
Well, there was a couple of things that we saw when you were Googling some of this stuff. Was for Black Servant, it was a horse from the 20s, and someone had said even for the 20s this was probably wrong.
Yeah.
And then there was a real trend that we discovered, which was self-deprecating horse names, like things like,
oh, right.
Born to Lose or like Last Place.
Three-legged nag or something like that. Right?
Yeah. There's a bit of a trend there. So that's the first team. Now we're going to ask after each of these, just curiosity, can you guess which of these four was the made-up horse name?
Well, you did just kind of give away that you Googled and it was a horse from the 20s. So unless you're really playing 5-level chess, then I'm guessing Black Servant is a real one.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess cloud computing is fake.
I'm actually going to go to the top and say Smarty Jones because Smarty Jones just doesn't feel, it feels like when you're out of names and someone like, just give me one more. And you're like, I don't know, Smarty Jones. It kind of feels like that.
Yeah, it's got a Jonesy McJones face.
It does exactly that. It feels a lot like Bodie McBoatface. Well, the actual answer there is Future Glue. Future Glue.
Oh, come on.
That's a great name. That's my favorite name of the four.
100%.
It's hard to put my mind in the mindset of a billionaire race horse owning person, so I guess, they are going to go right after cloud computing, eh? Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how that person made the money that they used to buy the horse.
That might be it. And we should mention that all of these horses, of course, except for the ones we made up, they all competed in the Triple Crown. They actually were either in the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, or what am I saying here? What's the third one?
The Belmont.
Belmont, yeah. So they're like high-level horses. These are not ones that you just happen to find one day when you were at a horse track in Sudbury.
These are like the LeBron James of
That's right.
horses. This is the high rollers.
These are not Future Glue, generally speaking.
Right. Okay.
Team two has Fancy Pants, Hoop Jr., Northern Dancer, George Smith.
Okay, I feel like I'm at a slight advantage on the spoiler alert because I've heard Northern Dancer mentioned before, so I know that Northern Dancer was a real Canadian, I think, champion, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the name George Smith, just straight up a real man's name.
Yeah.
George Smith taking over Benjamin Johnson. That's great.
Yeah.
Fancy Pants. I mean, come on. You're naming a horse. It's like naming a boat the Sailor or something. Like
maybe it was the same people who owned Smarty Jones.
Yeah.
And they were like Smarty Jones and Fancy Pants.
That's true. And Hoop Jr. I
mean, that's I guess, out of basketball net by Hoop. How do they there's a certain lingo for talking about the genealogy of horses, like out of this air by this stud kind of thing. I read some novels when I was
I don't know what she's talking about.
Okay, that's fine. Hoop Jr. I'm guessing Hoop Senior was like a really a storied champion, and one of those like the studs where they rent out the stallion to sire a whole bunch
or like the other horses when they all show up to the race going, so a nepo baby here, eh?
I feel like George Smith was probably named after the patriarch of a family. It's
right.
It's so straight ahead with no kind of twist to it. I feel it must be real. George Smith.
Sure. Well, it gets down to this. You can decide later which of these teams, of course, you like. But which of these four, Fancy Pants, Hoop Jr., Northern Dancer, George Smith, do you think is the fake name?
George Smith. It's too real.
I think Fancy Pants is fake.
Well, Fancy Pants is correct. That is the made-up name, Fancy Pants. George Smith is the actual name of a racehorse.
Wow.
Yep.
Disappointed. You had every name in the book and you chose a real man's name.
It must have been the dead. What year was that? When did that horse
It
live?
was a while back.
It was a long time ago, yes.
And
I kind of wish it was George Bailey.
I think George Smith
Yes.
George Smith won the Kentucky Derby in 1916.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's back when George sounded like George.
Yeah.
George. Like
It was
the
pronounced
no hard R's.
Yeah.
The
And is Northern Dancer still alive?
No, I don't think so.
Doubt it, no.
No. But there's a street named after Northern Dancer of the Beaches.
Right. That's right.
No way, really?
Yep. It's down by the theater.
It was
called Future Glue Avenue.
How long do racehorses generally live? Like, what are we looking here? Are they like?
Well, they only race in their third year, generally speaking. Like, they're like 3 years old is their peak racing year.
Yeah.
And then they get that's kind of it. And then they get put out on the farm, and some of them are, like you guys were saying, like become studs and all that, and there's breeding in that. But I think like they only run for 1 year is like the big, as you can tell, we're all racehorsing experts here.
Right.
Well,
God,
like-
I just realized why the future glue was why you put that in. That's awfully
you just
dark.
realized
I was just thinking
very
future glue
dark.
sounded cool, but then I was oh right.
But I think some race
Glue.
for many years, because weren't we talking about how Seabiscuit, finally won after missing not winning a race the 2 previous years earlier in the show. So I think that there is, sometimes when I just think some of them may race a bit longer if they're exceptional.
It does seem like that's a premise of like several movies where they're like, oh, that horse is done.
Sure.
Never race again. And all of a sudden it's like,
Like the Unforgiven. Like, I know a horse out in the pasture. Let's use him. And that horse is like, I haven't raced in years. What are you kidding me?
The legs
I feel
are
like
old.
that's a metaphor. Like,
yeah. I got a hip replacement and everything. And they're like, come on, future glue. All right.
The spirit's still
there's
young.
people in the audience thinking that horse is me.
I'm gonna take down.
I'm coming from behind.
Totally.
That's my dream.
We are going to
Junior
Team
lives to
3.
see another day.
Team 3.
Team 3.
All right.
Yes, here we go. This is the final of the 3. Here we go. Soup and Sandwich, Our Dad, Alan from Sales, and Sorry About That are the 4 teams on Team 3. What do you think of that?
Great. Love that classic, a standard, straightforward. Our Dad. Oh, that's also really. What should we name this horse? No, let's just call it Dad's siblings. Alan from Sales
I want that one to be real.
is
That feels very real to me.
very Canadian too.
I bet it is a Canadian horse, but I've seen, I can't recall mine, but I've seen such weird horse names that Sorry About That feels like weird enough to be the one. I do like that. I feel as if Alan from Sales, something that Sandy, Joe, and Bevan specifically would make up to put in as a fake name. So that's my spread prediction on that. What is it? I've never done betting. Was it the over under? The spread. Like
the over under is usually like your number. Over under is like if you could. I think it's score 50. That's like maybe like your hot pick or like
right. My hot pick is that Sandy. Not only is Alan from Sales the name, but it's Sandy who made it up.
Also, that you said I've never done betting.
I've never done any betting. Yeah, I've never done betting.
Well,
yeah. Our Dad.
Yeah, what do you think of those names
Dad.
generally? Like Soup and Sandwich? Yeah.
Super Sandwich, super classic. I like that. That's an easy one to say. That's an announcer. Soup and Sandwich coming around the bend and blah, 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 blah. It's a good one.
Our Dad. That's another one that could go dark, when you put the horse out to pasture or maybe have to like put a bullet in its head because it broke its leg. It's got a Succession kind of vibe to it. Like there's an ambivalence about how they feel about their actual father.
Yeah, I guess it could also be, great. Like if he was winning, our dad's in front.
Yeah,
Our dad
that's
is-
our dad.
Yeah,
Our
yeah.
dad.
The fact, Matt, that you've suddenly been like piping up a lot more makes me think that actually this is your team.
You should be a giveaway. Yeah, but I do think the idea when you bring this horse out to pasture and then you come back into the house after you hear a shotgun, you come back in the house and go, well, that's it for our dad.
Yeah.
And then you need the camera to pan over and have this whole thing. I'm right here.
Yes.
So what's your final choice for each of you for which is the made up name between Soup and Sandwich, Our Dad, Alan from Sales, and Sorry About That?
I'm gonna go with Sorry About That.
I'm gonna go with Alan from Sales.
Yeah, Alan for Sales is correct. That is we'll reveal whose team is whose, but that is the made up name. So when you look at these three collectively, and which of the three teams do you think wins this one? And because it's horse racing, you could do win, place, and show. So show is third, place is second, and then of course our winner is first. So you can start at the bottom if you want and work your way up from 3 to 1, whatever you feel.
Okay, I have some opinions.
Okay.
I think that team 2 wins, if only because I've heard the name Northern Dancer out in the ether, and you don't hear about a horse unless they're actually being a mega champion.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah.
Even Canadians were bragging about Northern Dancer, so I'm going to go with team 2 to win.
Okay.
I'm going to go team 1 to place because Smarty Jones, Black Servant, and Cloud I'm kind of competitive, and there's like an aggression about. And I think Soup and Sandwich, Our Dad, Alan from Sales, and Sorry About That, they're off literally in the field, just kind of they're goofy horses that didn't have quite the spirit that the sire did, and I think they sound kind of goofy to me, so I think that team 3 is
Okay. I'm gonna go the complete opposite. I think team 3 totally wins. I think they come in first. Soup and Sandwich, Our Dad, and Sorry About That. Those are good, strong stallions. I'm going to say place is team 1 because Smarty Jones, Black Servant, Cloud Computing, they've been trying for a few years, and finally their trainers and jockeys are like up to task.
Mm-hmm.
And then the show is team 2. I mean, Northern Dancer, they had their time in the sun. Fancy Pants, George Smith. George Smith is just a real man, I think. Right? I think a real man just racing beside.
In 1916, they didn't have horses yet. They just ran people.
That's right.
George
when you didn't have a horse, they were like, all right, go through.
Now, I want to be clear.
Really fast guy.
The team 3 names are my favorite names. I just think that they are like chilled out, weird horses, but I do love,
They were like the horses on the report. They said, pleasure to have class.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did like that Aurora brought up like a term, goofy horses. Just goofy horses, which is actually a nice little byline, I guess, for this episode. Well, okay. We can reveal that team 1 was my own team, Sandy's team. Team 2 was Mike, and team 3 was Matt.
There you go.
Yeah.
Called
I
it.
think you're right, though. I think Our Dad, he probably didn't live up to his full potential. That's probably the best way to use that name. I mean, he did race, but I think it fits the narrative better if Our Dad just never quite, he was kind of sad sack. And nothing
Right.
against the real horse.
Yeah, I think I don't know why you'd name a horse Soup and Sandwich. Sounds like maybe the kind of thing you name like twin horses. But I do agree. And Sorry About That sounds like such a Canadian name. It's a perfect Canadian name for a horse.
I mean, if you bet on that horse and it loses, it's comedy. It's great. You knew what you're walking into.
You did.
I would totally bet on that horse.
Well, I'm not sure if Kris and Aurora are with us anymore. I feel like
We're trying to have a bit of an attitude.
oh, you are? Okay, I couldn't tell.
Okay.
Your picture's frozen, but we weren't sure if you were still talking to us. Oh, maybe not. I don't know.
That's because they're not. The reason it seems like they're not with us is because they're not with us.
They're going out to pasture now.
They've already made their
Oh,
pick.
they've gone.
They've left.
That was the end of Kris and Aurora in the podcast world. Brought out to pasture like Our Dad. And it's a sad ending. Well, we thank them for joining us on the show and giving us this judgment. And I like the idea of these fake names. I feel like we have to figure out ways to have more of these kind of Liars Club fake names put into our lists, or like kind of a fun little extra bonus part. Matt, you'd be up for that, making up some names?
Yeah. It made me think we did kind of the the records that will never be broken. I wonder if we could get a stat head and give them a few unbelievable stats and see which one they don't believe, or I don't know. Yeah. That's a Liars Club kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that idea. All right. Well, that was our judgment, and judges are gone. Best we go back to the studio. All right, we're back, and we've been judged. I'm glad I wore my red tracksuit because this is a racing suit. So I thought maybe that was like a horse racing theme. But may or may not have helped. Okay, well, thanks so much to our judges for judging our horse racing. I don't know if we'll ever go back to horses. Who knows? But if you are a fan of horse racing, the best thing to do is when we post on, say, Instagram, it's a good idea to go on the comments. I'm throwing that out there because often I'll get a text from somebody and there'll be a perfect thing they could have written in the comments. And I say, put it in the comments. Other fans want to see that stuff and build on that stuff. So great comment, throw it in there. And if you're a horse racing fan, we certainly want to see your comments on who was picked and who was judged and how it all went down. Anyway, either way, we're coming back in mid-March. Hope you enjoyed this episode of This Day in Sports. I'm Sandy Jobin Bevins.
I'm Matt Kippen.
I'm Mike Shera.
Over there is Frank Russo.
Hey there.
All right, checking the facts.
Hey, speaking of...
Oh, yeah, fact check.
Soup and sandwich, 2 wins.
2 wins. Oh, well.
Not bueno.
Straight to the glue factory with soup and sandwich.
Soup and sandwich.
There it is. There's the 2 wins. All right. See you next time. This time in This Day in Sports.